What's up, fellas?
What up?
Good. Live new live podcast. We're on live. Man, big news in the NCAA world. But before we get into that,
Pay the kids.
What do y'all think about this week's sports lineups?
It's a good week, man. July is always a good month for sports.
Yeah,
everything starts turning up in July.
We got the Euros, finals coming through, the semifinals. Then we're going to get the Copa America going through. There's a lot of action. We got golf having some dramatics now with Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. It's the sports lineup's nice for July. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be nice. And the Olympics will be in full swing at the end of the month.
And Wimbledon.
Federer's
I've been waking up to Wimbledon, man. It's been nice.
Why didn't you mention the NBA Finals, Justin?
Oh, because we're going to get there. That's going to be at the end of the podcast.
You know he's been salty since then.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA Finals is taking place in July, so I mean, it would be worth mentioning at least. The NBA Finals takes place in July, guys. Just want to throw that out there.
You're right.
Justin's been salty.
Anyways, well, guys, some big news last night and yesterday and today that's been covered through the sports world, and I got to ask y'all a little bit about it. It's the NC2A clearing students' athletes' likeness to pursue image and likeness deals. Ben, I'm going to start with you because I think Roland's going to have a lot to say about this, and I want just a quick cut from you to see what you think about this deal.
I'm excited. I love it. I like how much it's going to impact recruiting, how much it's going to impact everything. I mean, we've seen quotes floating back around from back in 2018 when Dabo Swinney said if the athletes start getting paid, I'll quit coaching football. Here we are, 2021-22 season. Athletes are going to be getting paid. I've loved so far, like Twitter, the Barstool, Dave Portnoy has been signing athletes from everywhere, just little free merch deals and pizza. He does in pizza reviews. So I love the way that athletes are coming towards it. Also, like, do you need a D3 center? One guy said. And he's like, I didn't until 3 seconds ago. That shit's hilarious, bro.
That's awesome. Roland, give me the bigger take on this.
No, it's not a bigger picture. It's the same thing. I'm just pay the guys, man. It's about time that this has happened. The NCAA has been running a sham for the past since the NCAA began. It's just as kids, we never saw anything wrong with it because as kids, we're thinking, oh, these guys are going to school. They're student athletes. They're going to school for free. They're living out the dream. They're playing football on the biggest stage possible for people that age. So there's nothing wrong with it. But then you come to find out about how much money all these athletic programs pull in each year. Like you hear about Texas and Alabama. They're in like almost towards the billions. I don't know. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but they're in the hundreds of millions in terms of revenue generated each year. And all of that is because of the product on the field. You don't get all that money without the players playing. One of the Supreme Court justices, I think it was that Kavanaugh guy, the one that Trump elected, he said that this is the only organization that you can get away with not paying your employees. Like anywhere else, like this is an illegal practice, but it's just since it's the NCAA and these are student athletes and they go to school for free that we're not supposed to think anything about it. But it's about time. You're going to see a lot of guys making a lot of coin, which is deservingly so because we've all read the stories from when we were growing up about guys getting a car from a dealership or guys taking tattoos, Reggie Bush. We'll get into that later. But give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. I am on that stance too. It's crazy, man. There's a lot of guys that got screwed over in the past and made it look like this whole taboo. Like, oh, you took money or you signed autographs. Like, yeah, you should be able to sign your name on an autograph like Johnny Manziel was doing behind the back. I'm not a big Johnny football guy, but he has a point. I mean, why is it this whole secretive thing that he has to go through to make some money when he's probably a bad example because he comes from money as a family. But when a lot of these guys, they don't have food to eat. I know it's a dramatic example, but I mean, Arian Foster, I remember when they were doing I am. I have to build it up for the fans, guys. And because it's serious, like Arian Foster, I remember, and Arian Foster's crazy.
He's a big proponent on that.
He was talking about how he told Phil Fulmer one day that, he was tired of going home to his dorm room and not having a slice of pizza to eat in his fridge. So then he told Phil Fulmer one day, he's like, Phil, he's like, you either get me X, Y, and Z. He made these demands. I'm sorry, my dog's barking. He made these demands. You either get me X, Y, and Z, or I'm gonna do something crazy. You just told him like that. He's like, I'm gonna do something crazy. Like when it gets to that, it should never get to that point. That's all that I'm trying to say. So it's good they're paying the guys, and I'm gonna have to mute myself real quick.
So
Justin, have you seen it? Have you seen any of these guys already on day one? I saw Bo Nix had a sweet tea deal.
Derek King had like 4 deals already. Some runners had some deals. Dave Portnoy was signing everybody he could to that athletic deal. Yeah, there's a few. There's 2 players from Texas I saw with deals already.
To what? Like, what are some of the things that you've heard?
Just with shirts with their name and number on it, like things that jerseys would have been sold like, they're selling it with their name and number and likeness on it now.
Okay.
So I've seen that. But I do want to play some devil's advocate because I know both of y'all are for it. But what's a podcast if we don't have the other side, right? So
how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel.
And the sad thing is I don't really feel this way, but I want to bring it up regardless because it's the opposition. And so the opposition is this. This is a slippery slope for the NCAA. This could be an issue. And here's why I say. The companies have a marketing budget, right? Let's say it's $100 million. So just an arbitrary number. They give that to the school. The school decides what to do with that funds. Okay, so now you have a smaller program, right? That $100 million is still $100 million, but now they're going $50 million to a kid. That's less budget for the school to go against to give to the other kids. So someone's going to be without. So these smaller programs are going to be hurting now because you're going to go to schools with more exposure that you're going to get a deal for your likeness. And now these smaller schools are going to be the ones that are hurting, not receiving that big marketing budget they would have received in the past. That's the opposition. I don't care for it. I'm still on the side of pay the players, but I wanted to bring that to y'all to see what you have against that.
I think you're still going to have those guys who there's only so many roster spots on those big teams regardless, bro. Like there's going to be some of these guys who are going to be legends and have jerseys and shirts sold like crazy that maybe not the MAC conference, but like that play in one of those Division I, but like lower Division I conferences, but they're just explosive. And we always see some of those guys go in the draft, whether it be a receiver or whatever it may be. There's going to be those guys that blow up wherever they're at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's more of a chance regardless. I feel you on the big schools, but the thing is there's only so many spots. So you can't get everybody. Not everybody can go there.
Then you're going to have those big schools and you're going to have your neighbor next to you and he has a bigger deal than you. And you're going to feel some resentment, aren't you? Because he's getting a bigger bag. Y'all at the same place, but his bag's bigger. Come on, that's going to be an issue.
I guess it's always going to start
I'm sure it's
like
based
that.
on ability.
And then you have 8-year-olds who never had money before with a lot of money all of a sudden.
I feel you, Justin, but like Roland said, it's going to be based on like performance. And some guys know that other guys are better. I mean, that's why there's recruiting classes.
Yeah, there's only one Zion walking around.
Right, exactly.
There's like only one JJ Redick. There's only a handful of athletes that are really going to get a big bag. I think the rest will still, make some money for themselves, but not have that bag that they had before.
Yeah, like you said, the Supreme Court didn't rule whether or not schools can give money out. Like Duke still can't give Zion Williamson $2 million to come to Duke. Still can't do that.
Yeah.
It's just giving the players the opportunity to make that money. And to your point, the small schools probably will hurt a little bit because you're going to be able to make 10 times as much money playing at Duke than you would at Davidson. That's just the way it is, unless you're Steph Curry and then you blow up. But that's why those guys are who they are. But I'm all for it. Let these guys make money. What they do with it, I don't really care. It's better than them not having the money in their pocket.
They're gonna be rolling around campus on 20s.
It's better than them tearing an ACL without ever having made $1 off of their ability before getting to the pros. So
I'm for it because that means my video game's coming out, and I love that video game.
NCAA, baby.
Now let's talk about Reggie Bush, though. You say give him back his trophy. Do you believe in retroactively giving back people who violated NCAA rules of that time, their trophies, their awards, their stats?
In the legal
the Terrell
system,
Pryors, the Reggie Bushes of the world?
But in the legal system, haven't they been kind of letting people out who are maybe booked under certain charges that now have been
in the legal system? But this is not this is a sports related thing.
How much more legit does it get than the legal system? Though?
Yeah, give him the Heisman back.
That's the highest level of the penal code.
What are we arguing?
And the rule's already been eradicated.
Do the right thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm all for that Heisman belonging to Vince Young, but
yes,
I mean, if they ain't gonna give it to Vince, at least give it back to Reggie, because where's it gonna be sitting?
He won that Heisman.
Right.
He ran for 300 yards in a game. Like you can't take that away from him.
Something like that.
You can't take that away from Reggie Bush. He still did all that stuff on the field.
It was crazy staying up for Pac-12 football back in the day just to see him play. And I mean that team too, because Matt Leinart was huge at the time, and a lot of the players that they had. But Reggie Bush, it was must see Reggie Bush, and sometimes their games would start at 10 p.m. when they were playing Oregon State or something like that.
Fresno State would be real late, up all night.
Yeah.
Reggie would have been a millionaire before the NFL if he was able to.
I was gonna say, who would have been the biggest athlete that would have benefited from this? Maybe a Zion is the obvious answer, but if we think back a couple of years, what do you all think? Like, I mean, somebody like Iverson, imagine.
I think Zion is the easy choice because now today everything's so much more amplified, so there's so much more exposure, so he's going to make more money.
Right.
But I think Reggie Bush. He was the best player for 2 years on the best football team or the perceived best football team in the country. People were calling that team the greatest ever. In that run up to that UT game where they lost 41-38. Yeah, Vince Young got involved.
So I gotta ask y'all though.
But yeah, Reggie Bush, man, he would have made bank if he was able, and playing at USC in LA.
That's true. That market, yeah. For sure.
So you think if the rules are different then, does LeBron James go to college knowing he can get a bag in college now?
Maybe, yeah. I think that's a possibility. I don't know if he would have because he's just so good, so there's no point in wasting your time in college. But I do think that he might have wanted to go to school if he hadn't gotten. Remember that case that he had? He might have not. He almost didn't play in the state championship game because they were questioning how his mom got the Hummer.
Yeah,
you guys remember that? So yeah, maybe he took that as like, well, I don't want to deal with.
Yeah, he just didn't want to deal with the BS.
Yeah.
And also, there's that like legitimacy and stamp from high school to the league. I think that.
Yeah.
When you tattoo the chosen one on your back, you just got to do it.
Yeah, very few have done it. So I don't think money would have made a difference. I don't think he would have gone. But if he would have been the number one athlete to make the most money.
That's fair. Yeah. Let's get into what's going on right now.
Well, let's get into the NBA. Last night, we had the Clippers be the Dippers as usual, and they're out. Chris Paul, CP3, point guard, Roland's favorite point guard, has made the NBA Finals.
Stop playing with his name. Stop playing with his name.
With a hell of a performance in the fourth quarter.
41 points in a closeout game.
8 assists, 0 turnovers.
Dude, I woke up 6:15. I tweeted Joby. Hey,
I saw that.
It's time, bro. You said if he makes the finals.
Yep, you got to get the flowers. You got to get the flowers out.
Still relent on that.
You don't have to give Joby, if you're listening, you don't have to give them straight to Chris Paul. I'll give you my address. You can send the bouquet of flowers straight to me. I'll accept them. But yeah, man, give Chris Paul his flowers, man. 16 years in the league, never wavered. He got screwed over by the league. Justin, you got partially screwed over by this.
That Laker trade got
blocked. Going to LA and teaming up with Kobe. Who knows what would have happened if he got to team up with Kobe, but he didn't. And I see a lot of people always detracting from Chris Paul, saying, "Oh, he doesn't close out in the playoffs or whatever." But I'm a Chris Paul apologist. I'm a Chris Paul fan. I'm gonna hit you with it's just been circumstantial, man. Everything is circumstantial. Even his success, I will admit, has been circumstantial this year. You have Jamal Murray go down. You have Kawhi Leonard go down. Who else did they have go down that they played? I'm blanking out, but there's been 3 injuries in each of the series that they've been in.
The Lakers,
AD and the Lakers. There you go. So they've caught some breaks, but when you play the game, you need to catch breaks. That's just the way that it is. Like everybody wants to talk about, Chris Paul. If he doesn't get hurt, they're champs. Who knows? They're gonna at least be in the finals.
Whoever would have come out of the West that year was gonna beat the Cavs.
Yeah. And so like LeBron, we want to talk about him having the greatest 3-1 comeback of all time, but it was also circumstantial. Draymond fucking kicked him in the nuts and got suspended a game.
One game.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It snowballed. It was a snowball effect. It was somewhat circumstantial. Like, I'm not saying that Chris Paul's only here because all those guys got injured, but he's there because that didn't happen to his team. He didn't have Aiden or Booker go down. He got COVID. He still had to go.
I mean, yeah, he still went through the whirlwind. He got COVID. He got hurt in the first round. You know, like it still wasn't easy, bro. It wasn't easy for Chris Paul. I was happy to see him get it, and I was happy to see the 41 in the closeout game because last night it got close in the second half. The Clippers started feeling themselves a bit early in that third quarter. They cut it down to 7. And after that, Chris Paul had 14 of the next 18 points for the Suns. So he took over yesterday, and he played his antics. I mean, he had the Clippers on a yo-yo last night, bro, is what it felt like, or on a little puppet, and he was just pulling the strings. And at the end, he finally got that pop. He got that reaction that he was waiting for between the little incident that happened between him and Pat Bev shoving him, and finally giving him a reason to actually hit the floor, because Chris Paul was all over the floor last night, and it probably only deemed it one time, and that was when Pat Bev pushed him, was the only time he deserved to be on the ground. But last night was a vintage Chris Paul game, from the antics, from him taking over in the second half, everything. Like, it was perfect. It was perfect. And even in the interview with Rachel Nichols, he was like, I respect you and everything, but I don't want to be here. I want to be over there with my team. I want to be celebrating. So she was like, all right, I'll talk to you in the finals anyway. So he went over there, and it was nice, bro. It was nice to see him. Now they're the betting favorites to win the whole thing.
I saw it was like minus 190 to win it all right now,
without even knowing who the opponent is. But you got to think they're the healthiest team in the playoffs left still. So it was a pretty good night, and crazy for the
healthiest
Suns.
Banged up team. Let's put a little asterisk on that because they are banged up.
They're banged up, but they're all
but it's still a more legit title than coming back after 3 months and playing in Disney World. So. Did
you just have to throw that in there, or what, Roland?
I'm rolling
right now.
Hey guys, when it comes to CP3, I'm ready to fight. That's all I gotta say. I'm ready to throw down for my boy.
Why can't both titles be legit? You know
what did you all think of the parade that they had?
It's a little concerning. A little like, hey guys, you haven't completed the job yet. Yeah, but you gotta think, man. The Suns, they were 19th. I saw some guy that I follow, probably the biggest Suns fan. He's a good follow on Twitter. He's hilarious. Spreaker or something.
What is it?
SR, he's like some Indian guy. SREEKAR, Spreaker. He has the funniest tweets, but he said 2019 Suns were 19-63.
Damn.
And 2021 they're in the fucking finals. That's insane. That's insane.
The CP3 effect.
CP3 effect, and they got their guys. They built a good team too. Like they drafted well. I think they drafted Cam Johnson. He's turned out to be a nice piece, even though he didn't play last night.
One of the guys they traded from the Sixers, that was Bridges on draft day, and that's because Bridges' mom worked in the 76ers front office or like somewhere there. Like she had a job with the Sixers, and they traded him on draft day to the Suns.
Yep,
he's been a big part for them as well.
Jay Crowder has been balling ever since he hit the salsa on LeBron. I'm sorry.
That was a trade deal from last year, right? Or did he sign over as a free agent?
He signed over as a free agent.
Yeah, he was just in the finals last year with Miami. That's another guy who you want him on your team. He's that
he's a winner.
Presence.
Yeah.
He knows how to play in the postseason. And then the forgotten guy, DeAndre Ayton. Everybody talks about Luka. Everybody talks about Trey. Remember after that Lakers series, we had Joby on here, I believe, Justin. And I said, my biggest takeaway has been Ayton. He's living up to a number 1 draft pick. And
because those days that AD was healthy, he was matching up with AD.
And Jokic said, yo, this guy's tough. When he guards me, it's not that easy. And we saw them pretty much handle Joker and the Nuggets in that gentleman's sweep. I believe that they got them in, right? 5 or 4. Wasn't it Suns in 4? Because the fan beat the shit out of the other fan and said Suns in 4.
Yeah.
So I'll always remember that they swept them. But DeAndre Ayton is now living up to that number 1 pick, averaging 16, 18 points and like 11 or 12 boards a night.
Yeah, double.
Without having to run a play for him the whole time. And he's a solid free throw shooter as well.
And I think that's who Aiden is. Like, I think we were talking about it a couple of months ago when we were talking about NBA. We were talking about what we thought of Aiden as, number one pick at this point in his career. And I think what he's doing in the playoffs is like what he can bring to you when he's playing at his best. If he can hit a 20 and 12, that's what you want out of your center and play good defense. Yeah, he's I wouldn't say automatic, but he's just about as close as you can get to an auto double-double. So, I mean, you want that at your 5 position. He's a big dude. He doesn't really stretch the floor, but he's going to be able – he's an automatic roller. He's really good at rolling to the rim. He has a nice touch around the rim. He doesn't necessarily have to finish it with a dunk. He can hit it with a little touch shot right when he gets cut off to the rim. He's a good player. I like Aiden. And, yeah, Ben, you were on him from the beginning of the playoffs when they started out against the Lakers. But I will say, man, do they just not want to pass him the ball? Like, dude, Devin Booker – I like you, Devin Booker. I don't know if you're half Mexican, but I know you're Hispanic somehow.
Justin was claiming him an hour ago.
Yeah,
no, he is. I just looked it up.
I like you, Devin Booker, but you did not. I wouldn't set the screen for you anymore, our DeAndre Ayton. You didn't even look at him. You didn't look at him in the second half. In the fourth quarter, when you guys were up by 15 or 20, you didn't think, let me get my big man some touches. He's been screening for me hard all game. Let me go ahead and do that, get him a couple of easy buckets. You're like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to go ahead and take a contested jumper, a contested mid-range jumper with somebody in my face so I can get my 22 points on 25 shots. Yeah, you want to go ahead and do that.
Hit him in the nose again, right, Roland?
Exactly. Get the mask off. I don't know. I like the Suns. I'm a big CP3 guy, but I was on that DeAndre Ayton points over.
What do you think? Do you think
got 16?
How much of Ayton's jump do you credit towards Chris Paul? Because even yesterday on the broadcast, they were saying how they had some pretty heated conversations when Chris Paul first got there, and I don't want to say the book, but kind of like the MO on Ayton was very talented, but he could be lazy at times. Like, he was just the 7'2", gifted, able to hit free throws, big man that was going to be drafted number 1. But then you talk about work ethic, and that's a whole different thing. And
I think you have to credit Chris Paul, Ben, because he himself, Aiden, has came out and said vocally, the reason why I've jumped this year is because of Chris Paul.
Yeah, he said it was the best thing that happened to his career was having CP3 enter it. And I do give him CP3 a lot of credit because it's not one of those things like we're making it up. Like a lot of the thing that I hate about media members the most is like they try and like guess how somebody is in the locker room or like, oh, he looks like this type of guy or something like that. And it's like, you don't even know. You're not in the locker room. But with CP3, we have seen it at multiple stops where it's worked or they end up bumping heads. Like you heard about what happened with the Clippers. They were getting mad because CP3 was always on Blake Griffin's ass and always trying to.
And Harden didn't like it either.
Harden didn't like it. So you heard about that shit. So yes, I know CP3's all up in Booker and Aiden and telling them to get together. But
they're young guys rolling, and I think
they'll buy into it. Little whippersnappers. Like they're just looking up. Like, yeah, you're the guy that's done it. You're a 15-time All-Star, 14-time All-Star.
Well, they're just getting game from him, and that's a good guy to get game from if you're willing to do it, bro. Like, and they even said that, like I said, they mentioned they had heated arguments. So I'm sure Ayton wasn't very acceptive right away. Like, yo, I'm a grown-ass man. You're not going to be checking. You're not going to be doing me like that. You know what I mean? But then eventually you grow, and a guy like Chris Paul, he only does it because he wants to win. I don't think that he has any malice towards anybody or anything like that.
No.
He just wants to win. And he's made a lot of big men a lot of money in the league, bro.
Aiden's going to get paid one day.
For sure. So you'd be a full – like he got Tyson Chandler paid. And Tyson Chandler was just an alley-oop and defense guy. So, yeah, CP3 was – I agree. He was the best thing that happened to Ayton and a big thing. And Booker has been just as vocal as far as his mindset, going into the game and the preparation to the game and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're guys they're students of the game, and like you're right. CP3 is the perfect guy to get game from when you're a young guy in the league and you're looking to take your game to the next level. Because those heated arguments, it could have come down to something like, "Hey, big man, I'm not going to dump the ball down to you in the post. Like, there's a better shot out here, or we got to run the offense like that." Because I can imagine being the number 1 pick, like Ben said, the big 7-foot dude. Like you're just like, "Hey, just pass it to me in the block and let me go to work." But CP3 is probably like, no, man, that's not how an offense works. You see how the Suns run a great offense. A lot of it has to do with Monty Williams. But it's like getting him to set the hard screens that Devin Booker doesn't look to pass to him for at all, and getting the roll and getting the defense to give you some respect as a hard roller, and getting them to crash in and opening up an open 3-point shot, shit like that. And that is CP3.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the Phoenix side before we move to the Clipper side?
I want to know what CP3 told Pat Bev at the end of the game.
He did say something.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's arguing that.
When he walked away and got pushed,
people are arguing.
There's nothing he said there.
People are arguing that nothing was said.
He said something, dude. Like he said something.
Nah, he didn't. Not when he got pushed.
I'm not justifying what Pat Bev did. I'm not. Him pushing my. If I were there on the court, I would have jumped off and gotten arrested.
And also, by that point, it was already, the game was over. It was the last game. Pat Bev, it was time to act out if you were going to act out, and finally give CP3 a legit reason to hit the floor. Because if there was the one thing that irked me about CP3 last night, it was that he was just flailing all over, bro. We saw DeMarcus Cousins said, "That's why nobody fucks with you."
I saw that.
He even said, and we saw him flop on that elbow, I guess you could call that Boogie threw up. But CP3's it's either you hate him or love him.
He said something slick to him, though. He said something slick.
But I've seen the replays over and over. I don't see him saying anything.
Nah, well, Justin, you're not a good lip reader. That's not one of the.
Okay, that might be it, but I'm just saying. But honestly, though, you think that was justified, though, Ben? That push was justified? Yeah. There's honor in that, you think?
There's definitely honor in that. There's definitely honor in that.
Pushing someone from behind, cuz.
Well, hey, Pat Bev ain't going out like no bitch, cuz he ain't.
No, that was just because you said it. That was a bitch move, bro.
Hell no.
Hell yeah.
What was a bitch move?
You have somebody, you're going to go up and hit him from behind, cuz?
Hey, well, he was only behind because he walked away. Shit, he said some slick shit and walked away. What do you want him to do?
Square up.
Run in front of him, bust the Yui, and then push him from the front? Hell nah.
Oh, so we're going to cheap shot. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, bro.
Come on now.
Pat Bev is about it. Pat Bev is about it. We're not questioning that.
He ain't a dog. He got cooked. He ain't a dog.
That's fine. He might have got cooked. He also cooked CP3 early in that game. But listen, Pat Bev is in the NBA because of that. That's why, not necessarily that push, but that attitude and that edge.
Yeah, the antics.
That's the only reason. And let's not like front. He did a decent job, not necessarily shutting Booker down, but bothering
those games that they won, he was bothering him.
He bothered him a lot, bro. He bothered Booker a lot.
Broke his nose.
I respect Pat Bev. I'm like Roland said, I don't agree with the push, but fam, the series was over. Like, now's the time to do it if you're ever gonna do it. Like, he went and apologized today on Twitter, which I don't agree with.
It wouldn't have been a full series without Pat Bev doing something and acting out like that. I thought he had. I'm surprised they called a common foul on him with that foul on Aiden earlier in the game when Aiden was going up. It was all ball. He was screaming that. He was like, "It's all ball. It's all ball." You gotta love Pat. He's like CP3. You gotta love him or hate him. Pat Bev.
It's Draymond Green. That's the way some of these guys are. If they're on your team, you love them. If they're not, you just hate them. But every Clippers fan loves Pat Bev.
And like you said, he's in the league for a reason. Like, there's a reason why Pat Bev has been kept along this long, and it's been on competitive teams. Like, he's not playing on scrub teams, getting eliminated before the playoffs even start. He's on contenders for the most part. He went
from the Rockets to the Clippers, so he's been.
He was forced out of the Rockets, by CP3, kind of. I mean,
he got traded for CP3. He got traded for CP3,
yeah. So I guess there was a lot of built-up animosity because of the way his career path has gone down too.
Yeah, he said the next 5 years were his.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, that's why you gotta love.
And these past 2 years haven't. So I don't know which 5 years he was talking about. But I'm not gonna say he's a scrub. But that move last night.
Do you think Kawhi leaves in the offseason? Anybody want to put some odds up for Kawhi leaving or staying?
I think Kawhi staying's got to be 2-1. He's got to be favored to stay.
You think he's staying? Okay.
Going out like this today that said Kawhi only leaves contenders, and I don't think the Clippers are real contenders, so I don't think he leaves now.
Okay, fair enough.
He ain't gotta leave. I'm drinking Austin East Cider.
All right.
I'm being bougie tonight, baby. Bull
So
just
let's-
wants. Hey, Bull only asked that shit to go Google the calories on this fucking beer, bro. That's the only reason he asked me
He's
that.
not showing a plan or what?
At least now he's laughing after I said that shit. He's got to be laughing over there on his end. But Bull's got me on a semi-plan. He checks in on me here and there.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Paul George. I mean, he did show up for those 3 games that they won in the series, but last night I can't say he did. What are your thoughts on Paul George?
Paul
George.
Is he Batman or is he Robin?
He can be Batman when he wants to be, or when the opportunity presents itself.
But so okay, Batman or Robin. So he's not. We're saying what? He's not a number one. Is that what we're saying?
No, I'm asking y'all. Is he Batman or is he
no,
Robin?
so that by what Roland said is what I'm saying. Is the kind of question like Batman and Robin is a sugar-coated way to say it. Are we asking?
Is he your first option or your second option?
I think he's proved that he can be a first option. I mean, he was the first option for most of the playoffs this year. I mean, Kawhi had some games, but Paul George was there, and he was not injured. Kawhi Leonard got injured. He could be a Batman. I see, and this is like, I know what Ron's saying, but it's like the whole thing with Reggie Jackson. These guys, in a small period of time, they can be that in a vacuum. Reggie Jackson's a really good player. He can catch a streak for 15 games. And Reggie Jackson can be playing all world because he has that kind of ability. But is he going to be able to do that for 82 games? Probably not. But Paul George does have the ability at times to go off and play like Batman. Is he a permanent Batman, a permanent number one? No, probably not. But he can be a contributor, a main contributor on a championship team. Or I think he can. He proved it this playoffs to me. I've been a big Paul George detractor. I was calling him Pandemic P for the past year, way off P for a long, and rightfully so. But he balled, man. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Roland, and there is no way to put it. And the thing that backs it up is his bag, bro. Like his arsenal, like he's got it all. He's leading the playoffs in rebounds. He's leading the playoffs in scoring, and obviously he's leading the playoffs in minutes, because if he's not on the floor, the Clippers don't stand a damn chance. Let's be honest, bro. They don't at all. And he scored some tough buckets this playoffs. Listen, we didn't have the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. We didn't have the Clippers winning 2 games in the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi. So just because they didn't get to the finals, we're going to be here and say that Kawhi is not a number one? They're putting up a hell of a fight, bro. They're putting up a hell of a fight. I think Kawhi is a number one if he's going to have a beast-ass team next to him. Let's be real. With Kawhi there, they win that series, bro. If you're playing them that tough without Kawhi Leonard, without 30 points a night, the Clippers win that series with Kawhi.
Yeah, if Kawhi's there, I'd say they'd probably win in.
But I don't think that helps your case to say that Paul George is good, though. That's not going to help your case, Ben, what you're saying there.
But it's 6.
I think what Ben's saying is
games,
Paul
bro.
George was undermanned. He was on the undermanned team.
Way undermanned.
I can't knock what he did. Those games, those 3 games were solid. But in these elimination
the
games,
Utah series as well. Like they took down the number 1 seed in Utah as well, bro. Remember, we were all here. You all were hating on the Clippers for taking the cowardly route and tanking at the end of the season to get the better matchups.
I wouldn't hate on the Clippers for any reason.
Well, I feel you. But you were calling them cowards for doing it that way.
Oh, they are.
No, it was just a smarter way, fam. They got to the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi because of the way that the draw ended up for them. Let's be real. And it worked out, and they put up a fight in the Western Conference Finals. Nobody had them there with a Paul George-led team. Nobody even had them in the finals. Nobody had them winning 4 straight against Utah. And Roland, you know I'm the biggest Paul George hater. I mean, I clown on you for owning a pair of his shoes, bro.
They're comfortable shoes. But
I've been there. I've seen that.
He gained some respect for me this postseason, bro, because I picked against them a lot, and he made them go.
And I'm not trying to. I'm just, all that I'm going to say here is, like, if you can't give Paul George an ounce of respect after what he did in this playoffs, you're kind of just sticking to just being a hater when it really comes down to it, because the numbers are there, the victories were there. You have to keep in mind they didn't have Kawhi. Zubac was out the last two games. It was ended up being a big piece for them.
Reggie Jackson was their number 2, and
Reggie Jackson was the number 2 option. Exactly, and Paul George, he was balling. He averaged a double-double in the in the playoffs. He averaged pretty much 27 and 10 for this 2021 playoff. So yeah, Paul George, I think he erased a lot of demons in the playoffs. You know, my big vision of Paul George is the Gatorade commercial of him hitting the game winner and then it cutting off to him shooting it and hitting the side of the backboard on the corner shot. Like I always think about that, and I don't think I'm going to be thinking that anymore. All that I'm going to be thinking about is how the hell he can get off that Euro step with somebody in his grill driving to the basket every single time. Like he has no space to do it, but he still gets off the Euro, the body, and he still has space to put up the layup. He's a master.
And what Ron was saying about Indiana, like he had Roy Hibbert as his number 2 in Indiana,
and he had to face the Miami Heat. So
Ron, you're saying like it's all about W's. I feel you. They're in the Western Conference Finals, fam. You were making excuses for the Lakers because AD went out in the first round. Now here Kawhi goes out, and they advance 2 more rounds after he goes out. Like, bro, it's got to be one way or the other. That you can't cap for LeBron getting eliminated in the first round because AD got hurt, but Kawhi gets hurt. And the Clippers keep advancing, and we're still going to shit on Paul George. That's why he gained my respect.
He showed flashes. He's gained some of my respect, but I'm not ready to hand out my flowers to him yet. I mean, just that's how it is. And
I mean, I'm not going to call him playoff P.
But yeah, I'm not calling him pandemic P anymore or way off P anymore.
Yeah.
He's can't back call him Paul George.
Yeah, you can't call him that anymore.
The meme of him handing off the crown to Kristaps, that's got to stick right there. Kristaps is the new choker in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, let's address this question because I think it's a good question from Ron. He said, "Do the Clips get further with PG-13 hurt and Kawhi the one that was balling?"
Maybe I'd say yes because Kawhi won the title with the Raptors and we've proven to do that before.
But that was a better team. I think that Paul George does more. If you look at the stat sheet, he just does. He's more of a utility guy for that team now. They were losing close games, so maybe Kawhi down the stretch, you definitely prefer him over PG. We know that they lost one game by like 1 or 2 points. Another one might went to OT, so another one was 6 points. The Clippers could have been up 2-1 going back home or 2-1 going into game 4. The games were just that close. So it's you have to say yes because Kawhi is a top 5 player in the NBA. So you just have to think that, but when you look at their style, Paul George does a lot for that team.
Mondo says not even with Kawhi, CP3 know this is his best chance, and he pushed his team.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's the best chance.
Numbers don't mean it's all about W's. Y'all know this. Come on, man. No, sir. He proved a choke artist. Jazz had no spider. Damn,
Donovan Mitchell played that whole series. Donovan Mitchell played that whole series.
The whole series, Ron.
Yeah, he was just a little hurt. He had an ankle injury, but everybody's injured in these playoffs.
Look at Ron.
Played against the Western Conference Champs.
Wasn't CP3 hurt during that series, or am I wrong?
Yeah, he did get hurt. He hurt his shoulder in the first game. Okay. Hurt his shoulder in the first game.
You clearly get further with Kawhi.
GTS, Ron. GTS, come on.
Giannis over under 5 free throws. He's not playing, Josh, so doesn't matter.
Dude, should we just go over to the Eastern Conference a little?
Let's just before we do. Is there anything other takeaways from this Western Conference Finals before we move on?
Do any of the Suns end up with Corona after that parade they had last night?
I don't know. Lil Wayne was hugging everybody, and you know that do parties.
Do you like Reggie Jackson as your starting point guard? Would you pay him? Because that's what people are talking about now. That's
someone's going to pay him. Someone's going
to pay him. I can see that.
Much?
He's like a Terry Rozier type.
How much? You see Schroeder asking for $100 million. How much does Reggie Jackson?
No, Josh.
Shit. I wouldn't give him $100 million. I would give him
80 million.
I'd give him like he's 5 for 5 years, $20 million a year, something like that. With today's cap, I think that's fair.
So you still think Schroeder's worth more money than Reggie Jackson after the split?
No. Reggie Jackson's worth more than Dennis
Reggie's
Schroeder.
worth more, and Schroeder's demanding $100 million.
Yeah,
100 to 120 million. That's the bottom line, baseline 100 million.
Yeah, and that's the other guy. Before we props to Reggie Jackson, man. I got to give I'm giving flowers to Reggie Jackson. Maybe not Paul George, but I'm giving flowers to Reggie Jackson because he was pretty much written off. I wrote him off as an NBA player. Before he had this playoff run. I didn't really think much of him. I thought he was a guy that if you had on your team, you probably weren't going to be serious about winning or you weren't going to have him as a contender because he's not a premium at anything. Like he's not a super good 3-point shooter where he's automatically 40% 3-point shooter. He's more like in the lower 30s. He's not a high flyer. He's not going to go dunk and overpower people. So yeah, Reggie Jackson, man, got to give him his flowers. And he was crying after the game. He said kind of the same stuff that I just said, saying that without this Clippers team, he doesn't know where he would be right now.
He said they saved him.
He says that this Clippers team saved his career. And I kind of
got emotional, bro. That was tough to watch. I felt that.
Yeah.
Did he go from the Pistons to the Clippers?
Yes, from the Pistons. Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe like Reggie Jackson to the Knicks or something like that. I don't know, man. The Knicks need a point guard.
He could be a better version. Well, shit, I can't even say it. Derrick Rose balled out, and I like D Rose, but he can probably fill that.
You want to stretch the floor, and he's a consistent shooter, bro. Derrick Rose is a 6-man. Reggie Jackson will be starting somewhere next year.
Yo, and shout out to him on those goggles. Those are pretty cool. I liked the glasses he was playing in.
They never fogged up. I never saw him have to clean those. Those are straight from Raulito.
No rings are still a chugger stat. Means nothing's all about the chip.
Hey, to some people, that's all that matters, and that's fine. You're not going to get off of that hill. That's fine.
There's just going to be a lot of sucky-ass players in the history of basketball, man.
I agree, Rondo. Lakers do look good moving on from Rondo now.
Well, Rondo didn't play. Who knows? The Lakers maybe could have used him. The Lakers lost in the first round. Well, Rondo, they won a title.
But to move on and not pay, he did look good on our part.
Hey, but they won a title with Rondo. They got eliminated in the first round.
Speaking of Rondo, him getting eliminated marks the first time in 37 finals that a Shaq teammate isn't in the NBA Finals.
Dang.
For 37 straight finals, a teammate of Shaq has been there.
Shaq has that super good karma from selling his shoes real cheap that all his teammates got it too.
Nobody on the Suns team was on the Shaq Suns team.
Nah, man.
That team blew up. There's no one left.
Oh, and dude, did you guys know James Jones was the GM for the Suns? Dude, I didn't know that. He won Executive of the Year. I completely blanked out on that. He's going to the finals. Shout out James Jones.
Who the Rockets taking with the pick? Raw. I know when we were on here, we did a live one for the lottery, and I said it was Suggs or Cade or Cunningham or bust. And all that I'm seeing is this Jalen Green asshole and Mobley. As long as it's not Mobley, I do not want a big man. If you draft a big man with a top 5 pick in today's NBA, unless he's like a versatile and he can handle the ball.
Hey, Aiden was drafted number 1.
Nah, I feel you. But he has Chris Paul and Booker. The Rockets don't have that.
It's not going to change your franchise.
And you already have Christian Wood. There's no need unless you're moving Wood.
No, but yeah, it's sounding like Jalen Green. And it's a guy that played with the Ignite, right? That was a G League team. It was the one with the college kids.
Yep.
I don't know. They're saying he's they're saying he's like Anthony Edwards. Like he's going to be a scorer.
He's a 20-point scorer. He's going to get you 20 points per game, but he's going to take over 20 shots to get there.
The Rockets need they need culture, bro. They need Suggs. They need Suggs comes off like as a CP3 mindset type of guy. Hard work, undersized, always wins wherever he's at, and that's what I want for the Rockets, but it's not sounding that way at all.
All right, well, let's move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's tied up 2 apiece, and the stars of the finals, the stars, Trae Young, Giannis, both out for tonight.
Both out, and the line is Bucks -3.
It's moved.
Interesting line. What's the line
Bucks
now?
-4.5 now.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Okay. I didn't bet on this game. I don't know what's going on in NBA in terms of betting, but I think I pretty much called the Hawks to make the finals and before the season started. I think that was my proclamation, if you guys remember.
I remember Hawks to make the playoffs.
I said Hawks to make the playoffs. I said Hawks to make the playoffs for sure.
I don't know if I remember that.
And I said it the other day on Twitter. If Trae Young pulls this off and the Hawks get to the finals, I would rank him above Luka. That's just me.
You have to.
That's just me. I would place him above Luka in the pantheon of NBA players. He's won more. His franchise is in a better position. He's the main reason for that. I'm a big fan of Trae Young, what he's doing. I love the shimmies. I like the shimmies in a close game, not in blowouts and stuff. I like the shimmies when you're in the middle of a heated game and you hit them with one right in the middle. It just shows you that your mind's on another level when you're playing. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we were really starting to give Trae Young some praises. He's unlocked the book of basketball. Like, he knows how to play the game with his skill set now. And it's very fun to watch. Like, he knows exactly what to do, what play to make at each moment in time. And that was a big thing with him even before Nate McMillan got there, was that he had that chucker mentality. That's completely gone. Trae Young knows how to play point guard now.
Yeah. And without Trae Young in there, like Raul says, the Bucks got more talent, but that's what we all thought when the Bucks were 8-point favorites, game 4, game 3.
Mm-hmm.
What's the series now? 2-2?
2-2.
So game 4, that's what we all thought. Without Trae Young, who handles the ball for them 60% of the time, what's going to happen? Bro, they rout them. I mean, start to finish, they routed the Bucks. So now they're back in Milwaukee. Something that I actually like for this game with Giannis being out, you got to think the usage in Middleton, the usage in Holiday goes up a lot. I was looking at the prop today for Holiday points, and it was at 22.5. It's been at 20.5 normally.
Has he been under that?
Huh? He's
been playing under that, right?
He's gotten over it twice. He's gotten over it twice in this series. So he's 2-2. 2 to the under, 2 to the over.
I was going to say, Holiday's probably been one of the more, in terms of takeaways, more disappointing takeaway that I've had.
He did come up big in that fourth overtime or fourth quarter in the Nets.
Yeah, when he had gone like 2 for 13 prior to that, but he kept on balling or kept on playing for sure. But just holistically and looking at it, it's a little disappointing because he was the guy that Milwaukee was bringing over, like, hey, Giannis, we're really trying to help you win here. This is a piece that's going to take us over, is Drew Holiday.
Tonight he's going to ball out, Ro.
Yeah. Hopefully he balls out tonight.
He took 17 shots last game. If you're going to get 17 looks, and you got to think Giannis played 2 quarters there. Now he's not playing at all. They're at home, so he's going to be a little more confident. He doesn't have to waste so much energy running around with Trae Young on defense.
That's a good look.
I like him over 22.5. Middleton, I know Ron said Middleton's going to have a huge game, but I think Middleton shit himself when Cam Reddish started guarding him, bro. Last game. I mean, it was tough for Chris Middleton. They are going back home, but Cam Reddish was on him like a fly on shit.
Hey, but that's their best player, right, Ben? Middleton?
Who? You got to think right now because he's been there the longest.
No, but last night you said he was better than Giannis.
Oh, to close the games, correct.
No. You said he was Batman. You said he was better.
In the fourth quarter, Chris Middleton is Batman. If the Bucks are going to win close games, Chris Middleton has to be Batman. The Bucks aren't going to be able to win.
That he was better all around.
Bro, you can't give the ball to Giannis at the end of the games. How can he be Batman if he can't touch the ball the last 2 minutes of the game? Because they're going to put him on the line. You saw Josh earlier talking about Giannis over under 5 free throws. He airballed 2 in the first half last game, and he was done. Before he got hurt, he was done. That crowd had him all twisted. I'm talking about like when a girl's got you twisted. That's the way they had him. Bro, they had him down bad.
I got you. So, tonight, I see the Bucks taking this game. I think, like Ben said, Middleton's going to get it done at home.
I didn't say that shit. Ron said it.
No, I think Roland said.
I said Drew Holiday gets it done tonight.
Okay, Drew Holiday. I think it's going to be Middleton tonight.
Don't speak to Justin that way.
Violent, Ben. Like rolling his woods. Damn, Roland.
Hey, Ron's in here taking shots at everybody. Relax, Ron.
Equal opportunity. Everybody's getting it tonight from Ron.
Damn.
Is there somebody saying something? I don't see any comments. So,
what do y'all think about Giannis? Does he come back this series? The knee injury. So. The knee injury did look a lot worse than a hyperextension or knee sprain.
Yeah. No structural damage, so there should be no reason for him when the soreness or whatever goes down not to come back.
Yeah, but it just determines how long the soreness is going to be there and how long it's going to be inflamed. So
Joby has a shot for it. We'll be all right.
Yeah. No, I think he might be able to come back if the series goes to 7. I don't see him coming back next game. Maybe 7. And
who comes back first, Trae or Giannis?
Oh, there you go.
Trae.
Are you surprised, Roland, with Trey? Now you got your Giannis injury take. Are you surprised that Trey's missing a second game?
I'm not because of where the series is at. They're still 2-2. You know, they can still lose this game. And what happens if Trey Young comes back and plays this game? They end up losing. He maybe hurts himself a little bit more, and then he can't go full go in the elimination game. I think the mindset is if you lose this game, at least Trey Young is going to be closer to 100% in that closeout game. That's the way that I'm thinking about it.
But my thought process was a bone bruise is less of an injury.
But
is it that less of an injury than a sprained ankle?
I mean, not when you're talking about a quick little point guard like Trey Young. He needs every bit of that ankle to make those cuts.
It's a bone bruise, Mark. His injury is a bone bruise, bro.
Dude, I've had a bone bruise.
I feel you, but our sprained ankles get fat. They get cankleish.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying this is a deep bone bruise. It's
a lot of girth in sprained ankles.
It's pretty.
I'm sure
it's still pretty sensitive. We're stepping on that and trying to put some pressure on it, because even if sprained ankle, if you get a real sprained ankle. And you know, Ben, you played basketball. You sprained your ankle before. You know that first time on the court, after you sprained your ankle, you still can't go 100%.
Stop wearing Kobe's.
Well, shit, that was my problem. I was still wearing Kobe's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Kobe, but I can't wear
rest in peace. But yeah, those ankle injuries, man, that's a tough situation, especially for a little guy like that. And again, you don't want to see him give it his all. Like, but I'm sure you saw Isaiah Thomas. That story when the Pistons played the Lakers and he went all out on that bum ass ankle. They ended up getting the dub, but he wasn't good enough to go for the closeout games. And so the Hawks don't want that to happen. Yeah, I'm okay with him resting, playing it one more game, especially after what the bench guys showed to do without him.
If they had lost game 4, is Trey Young playing tonight?
Yes, he's playing tonight. They lost. Down a 3-1, he's playing tonight. So
Trey Young probably comes back before Giannis. That's my take as well.
I agree. Treyway, but I'm all about Trey Young. He's perfect in Atlanta. They love him there. He's their guy. But yeah, I don't think it's crazy saying that if he gets this. I don't think it's crazy right now saying that he's above Luka. But
I'll say it, Roland. Fucking say it. Don't change your voice and say it. Say it with your chest.
But I'll wait.
Say it with your chest.
I'll wait till if they get to the finals to say it. But yeah, I don't think it's crazy saying that he's better than Luka right now, or that he should be placed higher than Luka. I really don't think it's
safe to say that they didn't lose a trade at this point.
No, nobody lost that trade.
Nobody
lost that trade.
Luka wouldn't have fit in Atlanta. He just wouldn't have. Atlanta's a great market for trade. Nobody lost. All those teams got the right guy for them in their system.
For sure. I'm just glad we can stop saying the Hawks got fleeced. And if you want to talk about fleeced, I think the Hawks fleeced the Mavs.
Because they got several picks with that, which I think that they drafted another player who helps them a lot right now. I don't know exactly who it is. Hey, Roland, with the Hawks.
McDonald's right now. I'm thirsty.
With the Hawks, Roland just had the McRib. With the Hawks, though, it was that trade. It wasn't even it's a bad trade. It was that they got fleeced.
Yes, people were saying that they got fleeced.
Like they got bent over. Like it was over for them. Like now it's looking. It's the pendulum. It's like
the pendulum has swung.
Yeah, the pendulum has swung. I didn't want to mess up my wording.
I like that.
And have Ron take all these shots at me in the comments. So.
The extra pick turned into Cam Reddish.
So Cam Reddish and Trey Young or Luka. I mean, at this point for the Hawks, the strip clubs would have all closed had Luka gone to the Hawks. I'll tell you that right now. There wouldn't have been a strip club open in Atlanta.
Yeah, man, you got to give these guys shit. I am the florist. I give respect where respect is due, honestly. And I just like using the term flowers, but you got to give respect, man. I'm not going to sit here and see a guy like Paul George. Again, we'll just revisit that one more time. I'm not going to sit here and see him constantly put up 28 and 9 in a playoff game by himself and act like it didn't happen. Exactly. So that's just where I stand with that.
Exactly.
Call me the florist. I like that nickname, actually. I need a new nickname.
Who called you the florist?
Ron. He called me the florist Zamora. I like that. Roland's flowers in business, baby. I like that.
Let me see if I
Rolling?
can pull that up again.
That was funny. So how do you all see it going today? Who wins? So the spread's -4. Back in Milwaukee, Justin said he's got the Bucks tonight. Roland, who you got?
Give me Milwaukee tonight, but the Hawks are going to the finals. Just watch. Giannis is going to be back, and freaking Trae Young is going to.
He's on the
He's
Bachelor.
going to get there. Hey, I have to. Someone's got to make these decisions, Edgar. Someone's got to do it, man.
Someone put Roland with the Bachelor meme, please. That'd be a good meme.
Someone's got to do it.
Well, Marky will fucking make you a meme in 2 minutes.
Nice. If you're listening, put him as a meme for the Bachelor. I'm gonna call him the Bachelor.
I'm gonna go with the Hawks tonight, bro.
You got Hawks.
Dodgers by 6.
Okay,
so
then you got the Hawks in the finals.
Fuck the Dodgers. Man.
So then you got the Hawks in the finals, then Ben.
I got the Hawks in the finals, bro. I want Trae to win a title before Luka. Trae or Ayton, it don't fucking matter. Just not a buck. I don't want Giannis to win a title before Harden. They said if the Bucks win a title, all the Giannis brothers would have all the Kupo brothers would have a title before Harden, and that would be a tragedy. That would be a fucking disaster in this world. So we can't have that happen. Give me Trae Young against CP3 in the finals.
I want the Suns just because Booker's half Mexican. For the
that guy looks zero Mexican, bro.
Yeah,
you keep
claiming. Regardless, you take that blood test and it's half.
Hey, Justin went.
Taking that.
Justin saw Booker at a restaurant, went and got a swab of his napkin, bought a 23andMe or whatever the hell that shit's called.
Bro, I saw me in Pico de Gallo and I knew he was Mexican at that point.
Nah, hell nah, Justin. You're claiming him hard. He doesn't look very Mexican.
I don't claim him after last night.
Hey, with the Valley thing, the Valley shirt, 956, Mexican, just it's clicking for me. I don't know what it is.
He just got to pass the ball, man. That's all that I ask. But it's already late, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Hey, let's finish up with the coaching changes. We saw Jason Kidd turn down who Damian Lillard wanted as the Bucks head coach. He said, I want Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd quickly turned it down.
Blazers head coach.
Blazers, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I said Dame Lillard's head coach. But he turned that down, and then the Mavs job opens up, and it seems like that was the only interview. That was the only guy that they had in mind. It seemed to happen pretty quick. What do you all think of Jason Kidd to the Mavs?
I don't know. I'm a little indifferent on Jason Kidd as a head coach. On one hand, you can say the stops that he's had, he's kind of been underwhelming. But there's also the argument that when he was with the Bucks, that he had like the baby version of Giannis, and they weren't really what they were today. But he just really hasn't shown me much as a head coach. He hasn't shown me enough to be like, this guy should never be a coach again. But I'm not going to sit here and say it's a slam dunk. I'm not going to sit here and say that.
Do you think his playing career in Dallas had everything to do with the hiring? Everything to do with the hiring?
And winning a title. Yeah, I think so. Go ahead.
So he was on that Dirk team?
Yeah, he was on the Dirk team that won the title. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was on the Lakers team last year.
It's interesting. You don't think about it, but Jason Kidd's actually like a top 5 3-point shooter of all time. I never really thought about that, and
it wasn't even like that coming out of Cal. Like,
no, it wasn't.
That shooting, bro.
Yeah.
So with me, I think that's more of like we said, just everything to do with him being there, and I think that they could have done a lot better. I mean, I think Carlisle is definitely a better coach than him, but if it makes Luka's diva loser Luka, boy can't get past the first round, so he's firing coaches now. If it makes him happy, you got to do it. If it makes him happy, you got to do it because that extension or that next contract's on the line, and if he gets the coach that he wants, then he's going to sign. But then we take it to the Blazers. So the Blazers end up landing Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups on Ty Lue's Clippers staff, obviously a guy who's been long overdue for a coaching job. We know he was rumored for the Cavs job, but was advised not to take that job. So he ended up pulling out of that. What do y'all think about Chauncey Billups to the Blazers?
I'm indifferent. I can't call it a slam dunk because Chauncey Billups doesn't have any coaching experience, so you don't know what you're going to get there. Former point guard, so maybe he can relate with Dame, but we've already kind of seen Dame. I don't know if he's for this hiring. Some people did some dirty homework on.
He's not for the Chauncey hiring, bro. Like,
yeah, no.
What does it take? What?
I wanted Fizdale.
Yeah, he's not with
Fizdale.
the Chauncey
Oh,
hiring.
these
And
knuckles love Fizdale. We've seen a
it
lot of guys go to bat for Fizdale.
and it's unfortunate. I think I called it out when we talked about it. Was the one thing that I was worried about with Becky Hammond was her being used as a name,
That's all it
and
was,
them
Roland.
Like a
saying,
prop role in a
"Hey,
prop interview.
we have Becky Hammond as a finalist here. We're really down with the movement."
It's like
But
when
it's,
the NFL has a minority guy in talks, like that.
yeah,
They just have him there because you have to check it off the list.
yeah, and I don't like that because I respect Becky Hammond. I think she has good basketball acumen. I mean, Popovich doesn't keep stupid people around. Let's just
But
put it that way.
Roland,
Look at
let's
all
be
the.
real. Was
I'm
she
good,
the
but
right person for that job, though, Roland?
I don't know if she's the right person for the job, but I'm
She's
just saying
not because of where they're at with Dame.
for
She's
sure
definitely
you
not.
don't want to put her in that situation. You don't at all for sure. I just hope that one day someone will take her seriously and
Hey,
actually just not use her as a name to be
the
like, hey,
Orlando
we're
Magic
hiring
need
her.
a coach, Roland. Becky Hammond, boom, like
Standards,
that.
yeah.
That makes sense.
That
bro.
makes sense. That makes sense. And
The-
Edgar, it's true. Popovich doesn't keep dumb people on his coaching staff. All of his coaching staff really goes on to be head coaches. Whether or not they're successful after that, it's a different story. But they get the chance, and for a reason. And I think Becky Hammond falls in line with that. If she stayed, Becky Hammond, I don't know if Pop was doing it just to make a show out of it. I doubt he was doing it, but Pop has left her to be the head coach when he's gotten kicked out of games before to complete the game as the head coach and the head signal caller. So I think she should be respected. I think Portland just used her as a pawn. Unfortunately, that's the way that it reads to me. But Ben says it well too. I mean, you don't throw her in that, and we said it too a couple of weeks ago. You don't throw her in that situation in Portland.
Dame asks for a trade the minute she gets hired, bro. If he has a problem with Chauncey, imagine what happens when Becky Hammond.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't throw her in that situation. It would have been unfair.
Keep it a buck.
It's unfair to both. It's unfair to.
Yeah.
It's unfair to both parties in that case when you're doing shit like that.
And then another hiring. Let's go with Wally. Everybody thought Carlisle. Joby was on here saying that he thought Carlisle was the favorite to get the Celtics job because he had played there. So they end up hiring an assistant coach for the Nets, Udoka. What do you all think about that? Out of left field, did you expect it?
I wouldn't say out of left field because he's been in the running for some coaching jobs the past couple of years. He just hasn't gotten the call. Another guy that's come from the Spurs as a player, then a coach, and on throughout the ranks of the NBA where he was with Brooklyn before he got this call. Yeah, I like the signing. I think he's a good basketball mind. I don't know if he's going to win a championship for Boston. That's yet to be seen if he's going to work, but I think he has that. And again, I can't make any inferences about the guy's personality, but he looks like he can take control of that locker room and get the respect of those guys.
Yeah, I'm sure that the younger guys will respect him too. Especially you got to win Tatum and Brown over. I'm sure
that's what you're doing that for.
Marcus Smart is going to be on board just because that's Marcus Smart. He's just a Celtic. Like he's just gonna, he's going to be solid for the Celtics. But you're doing it for the younger guys, so. I like that too. And then the last one was Carlisle ends up back in Indiana. And honestly, it didn't take long after he stepped away from the Mavs. He ends up back in Indiana. What do y'all think about that?
I thought that was random.
Yeah.
To me, Carlisle seems like a guy that can have his pick of the litter.
Wanted to win, right?
Coach wants to win and stuff. And he goes to Indiana, who's like kind of like just a middle of the road team. They're not terrible. They're not too great. At any time, but yeah, I thought it was a weird signing, but good for Indiana. They got a good coach.
Maybe he felt like going to Indiana takes the pressure off him because in Dallas he had to win, and now he doesn't.
That's the point right there. I was about to get to that. In Indiana, he's kind of just, hey, the fans love us because us and the Hoosiers are the only show in town, I guess, or whatever. But there's really not much pressure to contend for titles and get in the playoffs with Indiana and you're going to be solid, I think.
Carlisle got paid too. He's getting 4 for 30. So they broke the bank for him.
4 for 30? I'm not good at math, but
that's about like 7
a
year. Yeah, something like that.
And just to fuel the Dame to LA rumors, he was captain for David Fizdale, and guess who hired David Fizdale this week?
Who?
LA, I just gave it to you. I said, feel the Dame.
And he was spotted at
Sparks
a
game.
WNBA game with LeBron. LeBron's recruiting him. That's for sure.
Oh,
LeBron
dude, they're on the set of Space Jam, watching movies together, hanging out.
LeBron put him in Space Jam. LeBron put him in Space Jam.
And you know what? Funny thing that you say LeBron's recruiting him, but they also have to have the chips on the table to get Dame because he's not a free agent, right?
They'll find the chips somewhere to
We've
get them.
seen
So
players
it's the
force their way
Lakers,
out,
bro.
a la Harden and other
I
players.
feel you, but the Nets gave up 7 first-round picks that they had. The Lakers don't have any because of AD.
Here's what's going to end up happening. Watch. The Lakers are going to mortgage their future. They're going to mortgage their picks.
They already did it for AD, though, Roland.
Shit. Well, I don't know. I'm going to need to look to see what they have left. But I just have a feeling that the Lakers are going to find picks from somewhere and package something together
to where trade Schroeder out there.
To where they're going to get this deal done and they're going to get their title that they want. But then they're just going to be off in the deserted island sucking for like the next 15 years after they do all of this.
Do you think that that's Dame's first choice is the Lakers? I know what Justin's going to say as a Lakers fan, but Roland, you're going to say probably as well?
I think so. I think that's his first choice.
I'm going to stick with New York just because, Dame in New York.
But Dame wants to win, man. I mean, he's doing that. Yeah, he's the guy. Everyone knows he's the man. Everyone knows it's Dame time. But it's like get rich or die trying. He's going to die trying. He's going to die trying to get to the championship if he stays.
The Warriors one would hurt. God, so bad.
That would be bad.
But if you're talking about a team that has the chips, the Warriors have the chips.
Who they got? Wiseman and the second or seventh pick?
2 picks in the
7th
top
and 14th and Wiseman.
That's a nice little call out.
Or Wiggins, or Oubre. Like, they have the pieces.
Puts him back in Oakland.
That would suck.
Wally's making sense here.
That would suck. And Wally doesn't usually make sense, Neta, especially this late at night.
Caruso gone. Bron don't like drugs.
I like that call out to
Bronson was smoking that pack that other time. I think Bron's okay with some marijuana.
That would be something with Dame and Steph on the same team.
It would be like KD all over again. Warriors fans wouldn't want to admit that Dame was better and that it was his show to run.
It would be like had the Warriors just drafted LaMelo from the start.
Honestly, the Warriors have their pick of the litter of these top guys who might need to get out because of where they're at. There's been rumors of Simmons over there. There's been a lot of rumors of players to the Warriors, but let's be honest, the Warriors with those picks don't need to be drafting young guys. They need to be flipping them for people who are going to help them win now inside of Curry's window. So the Warriors will definitely be adding a star this offseason. Dame would be the top. Dame would be choice,
especially after the injury to Clay, because Clay's not going to come back and be able to be a ball handler.
Bro. That'd be horrible. Simmons is going to the Warriors, Diego. Ben Simmons.
If Dame goes going to stay, I just hope he wins MVP so Curry don't again.
Yo, Ron. They say he don't got nothing to prove and he don't have no finals MVP, Ron. What kind of standards are these, cuz? I tell you.
All right, guys. Is there anything else y'all want to cover before we make a few announcements left?
No, that's all I got.
No.
All right. We do have an announcement. We did say it at the beginning of the podcast, but we're going to have Ron helping us out a little more on the dailies. And hopefully when NFL starts, him and Ben will have a program going about an hour before NFL games, talking to the NFL slate and gambling and giving you all a little more action. So we're going to welcome Ron to the team on that level. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be doing more daily things, whether it's Ron and Roland, Ron and I, Ron and Justin, but we're going to try and get on. Right now, we're only going on once a week. We're going to try and at least be on 3 times out of the week, whether it's just going over a little baseball slate, whether it's doing 30 minutes live before one of the NBA games that's going to tip off. The finals are coming up, so I think it's a good time. Ron's got his setup. He's always brings the energy when he comes with us. So we're going to hopefully be trying to get more content out there, and he'll be helping us out with that on the daily thing.
Even maybe just plays, whatever he wants to do, we're going to give him access to the page to let him run with it too.
Yeah. So that'll be dope.
Yeah.
You give him access to the page and I don't know about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of Lakers
we gotta
shit all over.
Put some
restrictions on that. But yeah, Dallas Cowboys for life. Another Cowboys fan of the podcast. I'm never gonna deny that. Ron's my boy. But yeah, speaking of NFL though, I know we've been NBA heavy, but it's around this time last year we started our NFL previews. So whether we keep on doing the lives or start going back to our normal podcasts, we're at least going to make sure to get in some division breakdowns at the very least and break down the division. And then, as Ben alluded to on one of the lives, that was Ben and I, that we're going to do some gambling picks, some season long. Hey, we might give out our division winner
for the podcast to track.
Look out for the season total. We're going to be doing that. So I do want to preface all that say all this to say, let us know who you guys want to hear us talk about first. Let us know what division you guys want to hear broken down first, and we'll kind of kick it off that way.
Hey, and another thing also for that is we're going to have to do the position rankings, because remember last year we did that and it gained some traction on Twitter. Some of us got called idiots, and that was when we were new to podcasting too. Yeah. So it was badass to get random people's responses that didn't know us and were scared to say shit, even though Ron's here taking shots.
You got to put yourself out there.
Nobody was trashing me and Roland for having Tom Brady in the top 10, and he wins the Super Bowl again.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true. I don't know. You were also getting trashed for having Drew Brees in your top 5, and
it wasn't Drew Brees. I had freaking what's his name in the top 10, the quarterback.
Brees at 5.
The crab legs, Jameis Winston.
Jameis.
Yeah, 30 touchdowns. I had to put him in. I had to.
That's crazy. But we'll definitely do the player rankings again by position, at least offensively, quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. I know some people have already been talking about this rookie for the Falcons getting drafted like top 3, top 2 in fantasy football. And I still think Waller, Kittle, and Kelsey are over him.
Yeah, so all those 3 guys.
I had to do it. 30 touchdowns.
As soon as the NBA finals wrap up, I say we're probably going to start getting into NFL and just strictly NFL heavy stuff.
Yep. And then I guess just one more announcement, or not really an announcement, but just to be on the lookout. Next podcast, we are going to be running a little ad or promotion with our friends down at Bet King, their little online book. And we're going to be running a little ad and a promo code that you're only going to be able to get if you listen to the podcast. And it could help you out, get like a little deposit bonus or something. The specifics will come out in the podcast next week. But just make sure to be listening so you can get that code and you can use it.
And we want to do next week. We will be doing UFC on the podcast whenever on our Thursday episode. We got the McGregor and Poirier rematch. We have some big fights on that card, so we'll be doing a pick'em contest for the main event. I know last season we did the UFC pick'em throughout the whole year, but we're just going to be doing it for the main card next week. And the guys over at Bet Kings will be doing a promotion with us for the winner. They'll be getting something if everybody calls the fights correct. I think that we have 5 fights on the pay-per-view, so if you go 5 for 5, you'll get hooked up.
Is this the return of my girl, Misha Tate?
But yeah, details.
No, Misha Tate's on this card.
Details next podcast.
Run over the pay-per-view card real quick, Justin. I know I'm going to be in Houston next week for this one.
Well, from what I'm seeing, is of course Poirier, McGregor, Burns and Thompson, Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy, Irene Aldana and Yanu Kutsinyaka. And what's his name? Your favorite bantamweight, Sean O'Malley, is out. I don't know if they found a fight for him or not.
They found him a dude making his UFC debut because he didn't want to take on any.
Spoon-fed.
Yeah, spoon-fed, exactly.
July 17th is Misha's return, not this week, or not the 10th.
Justin, come on, bro. No fake
I'm
news
excited.
on this podcast.
That's my girls.
All right. Live podcast from the Astros game. Yeah, next Friday we'll be at the Astros and Yankees. And damn it, boy, the Astros have been sucking. We got swept by the Orioles.
What's it, 3 losses in a row?
It's bad. I mean, we lost the series to the Tigers, and then we got swept by the Orioles. Tonight they're starting up against the Indians, so let's see how that goes. That's all I got.
That's it for we're talking about sports.
CP3, baby.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Point guard.
CP3 gets his roses.
Point guard.
Peace.